Joining us now, boots on the ground, friend of the program, ladies and gentlemen, Sheena Quick. Sheena, great to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We're fantastic. Seemingly Panthers fans Luke Combs is a guy who's not just going to go, woof. What are we doing here? Burns franchise tagged. Then he's traded for a second and a fifth, gets $95 million with the New York Giants. Carolina Panthers say, we ain't got time for that. Now, bringing in offensive lineman, I do believe, to protect Bryce Young. But what is the overall feeling in town about Bryce Burns being gone, McCaffrey being gone, and seemingly not much in return for everything that you kind of sacrificed over the last couple of years?
Well, they feel like they got fleeced, and rightfully so, because now you have 5 holes left on that starting defense that finished 4th in the league. And everybody's like, okay, what are we doing? Yeah, we may score a couple extra points, but will our defense be able to stop a nosebleed? And it's kind of head scratching because they did retain EJ Evero, but they left him scraps to deal with. So everyone feels like they kind of got fleeced in that deal, only getting a second in next year's 5th and only moving up a couple of spots in the 5th round pick coming up next month.
So is it code red like Luke Combs' tweet there? Because he said, I need a long neck, ice cold beer, because I got a broken heart. Because he's Carolina Panthers. Is it code red down there? And how do they fix this? We just got to have faith.
Code red.
We got to have faith that Canalis can make Bryce Young great. Go ahead, Sheena.
I mean, it's definitely cause for concern. I think he needs to swap out that beer and grab some whiskey because this might be a tough season going ahead. They did add some depth in that interior offensive line, which was absolutely important. But they could have done that and still done right by Brian Burns. They also lost Frankie Louvu yesterday to the Commanders. And they're expected to trade or release both Von Bell and Dante Jackson. And they lost Yetur Gross-Matos. So I don't even know how many DNs are on the contract at this point. It might be like 2.
Phenomenal names across the board. They're all out the door in Carolina. Connor's got a question about the decision-making.
Yeah, Sheena, is this all Dan Morgan? Is this him just kind of getting his hands on the team and starting the new era in Carolina with his guys and Canalis' guys? Or is Tepper still involved a lot like he has been in the past?
Well, Dan Morgan said that same day that you guys said he wasn't blinking in that presser, he said, I'm not a yes man. So I have to, he told me, he said, you're going to see, you can ask David Tepper. He pointed to David Tepper. He said, I ain't no yes man. Those are the words out of his mouth. And I do think that this is him putting his stamp on the team. And Canalis also, he told us in Indy a couple weeks ago that he doesn't have any type of emotional attachment to any of these players. So that's his advantage right now. And we're seeing that with some of those beloved names heading out the door.
Yeah, and in return, you can normally get some stuff for this type of stuff. But whenever you're hearing that the coach is saying, we got no emotional attachment to anybody, other teams are hearing that as well. And you're potentially losing leverage by the words that are coming out of your mouth. But hey, I've never run a team. I have no idea. But with Canalis, we're big fans. Yeah. He seemed like cool, handsome. His life story is one where he's had to overcome some stupid decisions and putting himself in a bad spot. What he did with Baker was make him a bunch of money last year down in Tampa Bay. Will he be able to do that with Bryce? Or Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Sheena. So we've heard that Tepper is basically, he's learned his lesson. He's going to kind of take a step back a little bit and let Dan Morgan and Dave Canalis kind of run the show. But with kind of what they're left with here, and you look at the NFC South, like is Dave Canalis just going to get fired in 2 years like the last 8 guys they've had are going to?
Well,
and like, are they going to be just at the same spot they're at right now in a couple years looking for a new coach and hoping Bryce Young's the guy?
Well, Tepper told us the same thing when he hired Frank Wright, and we see, we have all these reports coming out once Frank Wright was shown the door. I do think he will have more. I do think Canalis will have more grace. Mainly because, like you said, they don't want to fire another head coach 1-2 years into the tenure, because that instability is the reason that they are where they are now. That's what basically steamrolled Brian Burns' value, because 2 head coaches ago, we were told that he was a priority. But with all of this change in and out the door, I think that alone will give Dave Canalis a lot of grace. And like I told you guys at Super Bowl, I don't think that this team is going to be highly competitive next season, maybe a season. It's going to take a while to fix the mess that has kind of, I guess, built up over the last couple seasons.
Diamond rings and football teams torn this boy apart. He's talking about the Panthers.
He is.
He's talking about the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. And this guy, family.
Turned the Panthers into a musical.
Well, this is Luke Combs' own words. Yeah. These are Luke Combs' words.
Yeah.
Crushed.
Now that he's a football pundit, I mean,
Yeah, we can do it.
We just got to kind of look into the history of this entire thing. Last question here for you, Sheena. We appreciate your time from D-Butt.
Sheena, you were much more optimistic last year going into the season. We need you to turn that optimism up a little bit more for your Panthers.
Just a little bit.
You built up a little bit in the offensive line, but you mentioned Burns and a lot of those starters been going from the defense. I think Burns' entire draft class is gone from the team now. Who are the core, those pillar guys left? We just had Sal Powell on. He was talking about the core four in Philly. Who are those guys left in the Carolina locker room that you can kind of that you would like to build around? Obviously, outside of the young Bryce Young.
You hit the nail on the head. They don't have that. They don't have that. I sat there when FanDuel came into town last week. I heard Jonathan Stewart and Luke Kuechly kind of just chopping it up, telling all these stories of locker room stories and on-field stories, and you just don't have that in this locker room. And you haven't had that in the last couple of seasons, and I don't see the moves from yesterday helping that going forward. Now, I was optimistic. I'm not trying to put a clown nose on myself again. I'm not trying to put my face on the Jordan Pride meme. I'm not trying to do any of that. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
Hey, you're a journalist. We appreciate that. We appreciate you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Sheena Quick. Thank you, Sheena.